Could be. For me, hear me. Louie T, welcome to Monday Night Football overtime. Texans, Cowboys, Battle of Texas. Wasn't really much of a battle. Although I will say the final score is not indicative of how close this game was for much of the night. It started off a little rough. Thought it was going to go off track relatively early. 14-0. Cowboys looked desperate with a fake punt after the second possession of the game. And you're like, oh, as a matter of fact, it was the first possession for the Cowboys, second overall possession. Texans scored on their opening. Texans actually scored on the opening play of the game, but it was called back due to an illegal man downfield. Laramie Tunsil, the guilty party there, negating what would have been an opening salvo for the ages. Really, I mean, Nico Collins back for the first time in over a month due to a hamstring, and his first play is a wide receiver screen for 70 yards and a touchdown. Would have been crazy, but that was negated. But they still went down the field, scored. Joe Mixon polishes off a drive with like a 30-something yard touchdown run. And 7-0. Cowboys come out, fake a punt after going 3 and out essentially. And yikes. That is the smell of desperation, my friends. But the defense came on the field, got a stop. As a matter of fact, I don't think there was any damage done there. The Texans, I don't think, came away with any points on that possession. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think they did. Because I think C.J. Stroud threw a pick, and then Cooper Rush threw a pick, and then the Texans did score a touchdown after that. It's 14-0, and it felt like, uh-oh. Here we go. Uh-oh. This one could get pretty ugly. And then the Cowboys settled in. Kevontae Turpin with the big catch and run. I've always said, I've said this to Boss over and over again, and he agrees. I don't know why they don't play him more. Like, they don't have a lot of dynamic guys that scare you outside of CeeDee Lamb. I don't understand why Kevontae Turpin isn't like a fixture on their team and why he isn't touching the football as many times as they can get him to touch it. I've already said, I've advocated for this. You know, the Commanders played the Cowboys this week. I wouldn't kick it to them. They don't have a lot of ways they can score right now. He's one of those ways. I'd kick it out the back of the end zone this week and make him start at the 30-yard line. I'm not giving him an opportunity to hurt me. I just won't. Like, I have pride in my, special teams unit. I think they're one of the better groups in the league. And, what does that say about them if you're going to, not trust them? I don't give a shit how they feel. This is not the week to be prideful, have an ego, none of that shit. What's the best path to victory? Kevontae Turpin taking a knee or watching the ball sail over his head as it goes out of bounds in the back of the end zone and the Cowboys start at the 30. That's your best ticket. But he catches it and runs. Another thing, I wouldn't blitz the Cowboys right now. That offensive line is in shambles. I'm rushing 4. I'm dropping 7. I'm making Cooper Rush make a smart, informed decision. I'm not making it easy on him to just make a throw against man coverage and have somebody, beat one defender and go the distance. That's stupid. No. Make him do it over and over and over and over and over again. If they have to go on a 13-play drive and they successfully do it, you tip your cap. But with the way they run the football and their inability to throw it consistently and not really having anybody other than CeeDee Lamb to get the ball to, why would you even think about blitzing at this current juncture? I wouldn't blitz at all. This doesn't make a lot of sense. But they did blitz, and they got burned by the blitz, and it was 14-7. And, Texans made it 17-7 with a field goal they added. Cowboys then added a field goal of their own to make it 17-10. They had a chance to make it 17-13, and then Brandon Aubrey, he slipped. We saw what happened, and he missed. Boy, does he kick it effortlessly. He's the new Justin Tucker in the league. I know he slipped on that one kick, but his kicks, like, you can tell he played soccer first and foremost, because he kicks the ball with the least amount of effort I've ever seen a kicker kick the football with. It explodes off of his foot, and he's just doing like a little side tap. It's crazy when you watch him kick it. The 64-yarder he made that ultimately was taken off the scoreboard because the Texans I haven't seen a head slap like that. That was a vicious head slap. He slapped the shit out of that long snapper. Like, goddamn, Reggie White would be proud. Goddamn, that was a hell of. Deacon Jones would be proud. To hell with Reggie White. Deacon Jones would be proud. That was a hell of a head slap, I should say. That was concussion worthy. Goddamn. Derek Barnett. But he kicks the 64-yarder. And it's like he just tapped it with the side of his foot. Boop. And that thing still would have been good from 68, 69. Right? Did you see the ball boy in the background trying to catch it, flipping over the cameraman like, bro, what the hell are you doing out here? Right? Anyway, I got a nice chuckle out of the damn ball boy in the back trying to catch the ball, tumbling over the cameraman. It was hysterical, but that decision to take, first of all, a lot of people question. Look, it's the same thing I said when we played the Eagles on Thursday. That field goal wasn't going to make a difference. They weren't going to win this game off of field goals. They're not the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively. Like, more points were being scored in the game, okay? Like, the Texans weren't done at I mean, I say that, but this is a team that struggled to score in the second half of games, but they were going to at least be able to muster a field goal, if nothing else, the rest of the game. Like, they weren't going to win this game. Cowboys score a touchdown and go for two and win 21-20. Like, they were going to have to score more than, 13 points. So I didn't have any issues with him bypassing the field goal there. And people kept, Troy Aikman got on him like, hey, I don't love the argument. You're 3-6. What do you got to lose? A football game. No, I agree with all of that. But this is the angle I look at from. You look at it from various angles. You have Cooper Rush at quarterback. How many more times are you really going to get down here anyway, right? That was probably Mike McCarthy. Like, people be overthinking these situations. Mike McCarthy isn't thinking about, well, I want to cut it to it. He doesn't have Dak Prescott at quarterback. Well, I want to cut it to a one-score game and give us a chance to win. He's thinking, I got Cooper Rush at quarterback. How many more opportunities am I going to have the football down here in the red zone with a chance to score a touchdown? The field goal is the easy part. I got a dude that can kick it from 70, okay? The field goal is nothing. I can get that anywhere on the field. What's going to be hard in this equation is the touchdown. I'm already down here. Let's just try and get it out of the way right now, because I don't know how many times I'm going to get back down here. That was the thought process. Like, everybody's making it, that's going to be a decision that people, no one's talking about it, because you weren't going to win this game kicking field goals, and you got Cooper Rush at quarterback. Got to try to get the touchdown. Once they took the field goal off the board with the personal foul penalty, you got to go for the touchdown. I had no issues with that whatsoever. Let's talk about the Texans, though. Cowboys are a mess. I love it. Let's talk about the Texans, though, because I got a question for y'all. We're going to talk about this more when we get into Inside the Odds, but I'm going to pose this question to you. How good are the Houston Texans? And in the AFC pantheon, where do you rank them in terms of Super Bowl odds? Like, if I said to you, how many teams are you putting in front of the Texans to win the Super Bowl, or at least represent the AFC in the Super Bowl? How many teams are you putting in front of them in the AFC? They're an enigma to me. And I'm going to give them time because Nico Collins is now back, and I think he drastically changes their offense and the ceiling for what they can be offensively. We saw glimpses of it tonight. I'm going to give him a chance to get settled back in, CJ to get settled back in with him, and them to start making that music that they were making together before the injury, which was the best in football. He had the most receiving yards in the NFL before he got injured. So I want to give that a chance to kind of settle in and see what it looks like again. But it's a little bit different now. There's no Stephon Diggs, right, to kind of offset him. Now Tank Dell's going to have to step into that role. And then I don't feel like and you know what? I think there's a chance that John Mechie can fill that third receiver, void, or a combination of him and Robert Woods can fill the third receiver void. So they could be fine, right? You still have Dalton Schultz at tight end too. And Joe Mixon has been a revelation. Man, has he found the fountain of youth. And not to say that he was washed in Cincinnati, but it didn't feel like he still had this kind of play left in him in Cincinnati at the very end. Damn, he looks good. Man, he is playing phenomenal football. And I don't think most people saw it coming. I mean, they got him for a 7th round pick. Let me repeat myself. They got him for a 7th round pick. Unreal. Texas have a ton of weapons, but here's why they're an enigma to me. And again, I'm going to give it some time. They don't look right on offense to me. They don't look right on offense. And CJ Stroud, didn't have a touchdown pass tonight. Was solid. I thought he did some good things, but I thought they left a lot of yards out on the field, a number of times. Obviously, the penalties negated some plays. But I thought there were some opportunities for, some catch and runs, and CJ's throwing the ball low, so guys got to go down and dig it out. There's one with Tank Dell wide open on the sidelines on a deep over route, and he's got to jump and kind of, leap for the football, dive, leave his feet. And it's just like it's a lot of yards being left out there. The interception he threw, clearly Nico Collins is open. If he hits him in stride, it's a touchdown, and somehow he throws it right to the safety, Malik Hooker, and you're just like, what was that about? Right? Like, there was another play where number 31, I have no idea who these Cowboy defenders are at this point. Hell, I'm hard pressed to tell you who some of these Cowboys offensive players are. It's a mess, right? But 31 is out there and he breaks up a pass, and I mean, what was that? Right? Like, that ball's supposed to be outside. It's inside. That guy that wasn't even looking, but it hits him in his like side, back, hip, whatever. Their game, like D'Amico Ryans strikes me as a guy that is game situationally game challenged, right? And again, I don't like laying every issue that the Texans have from a game situation and situational awareness standpoint at his feet, because not all of this is his fault. But they've struggled in late game situations. I've chronicled that throughout the course of this year, that it drives me mad to no end how they handle late game situations. They've botched before the half twice this season. Now, one was his fault, one wasn't his fault with the clock. What the hell was that 3rd and 1 thing that they did, right? Where they ran up, snapped the ball quickly for CJ to throw a 15-yard pass. That's the out route I was talking about that wasn't even close. Like, what the hell was that about? Were you trying to catch them in 12 men on the field or something? Because then it would make sense. But if not, it's 3rd and inches, bro. And you're throwing a pass 15 yards and it's incomplete, and now you have to punt. You ran up to the line of scrimmage to do that. Like, normally you run up to the line of scrimmage to snap it. It's because you want to catch them, out of sorts, quarterback sneak, that sort of thing, so you can just get the first down. But that's the type of shit the Texans do. And I'm just like, and this is the team I'm supposed to be believing in? And then they've got the second half struggles. We saw it last week on Sunday Night Football versus the Lions, a game that they had no business losing. Tonight, this game is a lot closer. Like the 34-10 score, if you didn't watch it, your Cowboys got their ass whooped. Yeah, they did. But if you watch the game, this is a 20-10 ball game with probably 8 minutes to go before the Derek Barnett strip sack, fumble, scoop up by the Dallas Cowboys rookie tackle, Tyler Guyton, who then gets walloped by Jalen Petrie, fumbles again, and then the guy that originally forced the fumble, Derek Barnett, scoops it and scores it. That's what bust the game kind of wide open and allowed the Texans to kind of exhale and take a deep breath and say, all right, this thing's over, right? That made it 27-10, and at that point, the Cowboys started pressing, and that's when they started teeing off on Cooper Rush, and the offensive line started to fall apart. First, it was Zach Martin. Guyton got hurt on that forced fumble, right? And he didn't return. Don't know what his status will be moving forward. Then, Smith went down with an injury. Looked like to his ankle. Kind of got rolled up on there late. He looked like he might be fine, but you never know with those ankles. I think he'll be fine. But the Martin one looks to be the more serious of the three. But by the time you got to the end of the game, guys like JC Bass were on the field at guard, and I have no idea who the guy who got beat by Derek Barnett, who got called for holding rather on Derek Barnett on one of those plays. I have no idea who he is at left tackle, and yeah, it turned into a shit show, is what it did, and the Texans took full advantage. But that they still haven't scored. Well, they scored an offensive touchdown just at the end, just so they could say, hey, okay, we can stop talking about that. But that was after Dallas went for it on 4th and forever, got sacked, and gave them the ball in great field position. But they struggle to score in the second half of ball games. I don't always love some of the decision making from this team and the staff, and so it's hard for me to kind of put my finger on what this Texans team is, because they got some talent. Nobody's debating that. But are they capable of beating a Baltimore, a Kansas City, a Buffalo, the Chargers, the Broncos even? Like, I'm not sure. Where do you put them in the AFC? That's my question. We're going to take a look at some of the odds in the AFC and where they kind of stand right now. And I think that will give us a clearer picture of what the outside public and Vegas seems to think. But with this Texans team, I don't really know where to place them. I don't know how to feel about them. I know they're super talented. I know that they have the requisite pieces, and winning a playoff game last year gave them the requisite, playoff experience that you need to do damage once you get there. But I don't know. Does CJ Stroud feel like he took a step forward to you? Because it doesn't feel step forwardish to me. It feels like he's kind of, I don't want to say he's regressed. Feels like he's kind of on a lateral step side, taking a lateral step sideways, so to speak. Like, he hasn't really gotten better. Obviously, he's thrown more interceptions this year, but that's just a byproduct of, they played a weaker schedule last year. You know how that shit goes. They won the division. Now you get a first place schedule. So now you got to play Kansas City. Now you got to play Buffalo. Like, you got to play all of the top dogs. And I don't think they've even done that yet, to be honest with you. I guess we'll get a sense of where they belong, because I don't think they've played Baltimore yet this year. Have they played Baltimore already? They have to play Kansas City. They have to play Buffalo. They're going to win that division. That division's awful. So they're going to win that division by default. But they got some tough games. Like, if Indy could get their shit together, they could get in that mix. Problem is, they've swept Indy already. So they'd have to finish one game better than Indy. And the Texans are going to take care of the division, right? They're not going to lose games in the division to teams that they have no business losing to. So they're going to take care of that division. And ultimately, that's what's going to allow them to win the AFC South. But I want to get to that. I want to talk about that. Defensively, man, do I love Derek Stingley Jr. God, he's so good. I loved him coming out of LSU, and I said if he could just stay healthy, and he's been that. He's a dog. He dropped probably 2 interceptions tonight. Caught one. Was playing the ball, and CeeDee Lamb had to essentially turn into a defender and commit pass interference to stop him from catching another one. He's so good. And they've done a really good job. I got to give credit where credit is due. Nick Cassera has done a tremendous job of drafting in that secondary in particular. Kalen Bullock out of USC is a beast. He dropped a pick 6 probably tonight, but that's probably the only pick he's dropped this season. He's got like 4 or 5 of them on the season. He seems to catch everything, and then the easiest pick he's had all season, he drops it, right? The Lassiter out of Georgia, the second round corner, has been phenomenal. Obviously, he missed this game, got hurt last week against Detroit, but he's been phenomenal. That's a young secondary, and you know how I feel about Jalen Petrie. He was one of my favorite guys in the draft a couple of years ago out of Baylor, and so that's a young, talented secondary that they've comprised and put together there. Danielle Hunter is a beast. That's a hell of a signing there. Did you see the spin move he put on Terrence Steele? God, Terrence Steele didn't know what the hell was going on over there. Like, he's beating him with speed, he's beating him with power, he's beating him with the spin move. He had that man all types of bazity. He had no idea if he was coming or going or what the hell was going on. I wanted to say I felt bad for Terrence Steele, but I don't. I don't. Yeah, that got really nasty over there late, boy. He was working him over. Pause. Tim Settle is playing well. I'm a big Danico Autry fan. You know, even at his advanced age, he's still a damn good player. And then Nick Barnett, showed up and made some plays this season as well, including tonight. So, and then they're going to get Will Anderson back at some point, who was playing extremely well before the injury. One of the sack leaders in the NFL. I think he had like 7.5 sacks or something like that prior to getting injured. I think I could be wrong about that, but he was playing well. I do know that prior to the injury. So they got talent, man, oozing out of every nook and cranny of that defense. It's just about a matter of being consistent, putting it together. When you have the corners that they have and the secondary that they have, you can be aggressive, right? You can blitz. Sometimes you'll get beat like they did tonight on the slant to Kevontae Turpin, but I mean, that having that kind of secondary allows you to be a little reckless with your play calling. Allows you to say, you know what? Let's send the kitchen sink. Why the hell not? They have an opportunity. Like, they're a good football team. Can they put it together? Can they be consistent? Can they play with the big dogs? That's the real question. And I don't know if I trust that coaching staff with the game on the line, needing to make smart decisions. I don't know if I can trust their coaching staff. It's another thing too, I'll say. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead. Let's get to Inside the Odds, brought to you by BetUS. And then after we get to that, we'll get to the comment section. But I think this is going to shed a little bit of light and maybe give us a little bit of clarity as to some of the things that I was talking about and asking you about a little bit earlier. Let's go Inside the Odds, brought to you by BetUS.
Inside the Odds.
All right, so you're looking for a new book? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year as long as you're active within a 6-month period. And here's the kicker for brand new users. And I'm a big advocate. If you're going to bet, you shouldn't just tie yourself to one book unless you're getting incredible odds and the VIG is good and everything is, kind of set up for you to get the best of the best of the best. Then you should be, a free agent at all times. Wherever you're going to get the best bang for your buck, that's where you should be betting. And a lot of times, the best bang for your buck is going to be BetUS, right? You want to be loyal? Be loyal to BetUS, right? For all the reasons that I've named. But here's another reason. 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 when you use that same promo code YouTube150. BetUS, all the numbers that we're about to look at, all the odds that you're about to hear about came straight from the BetUS website. Also, check out their prop builder. That's another way to have a great time and also put some money in your pocket. If you've got a hunch, you can build yourself your own prop bet with their prop builder. Check that out. Give it a spin. But BetUS had the Texans as a 7-point favorite, which was not generous enough. Who thought the Texans were going to win this game by less than double figures? I don't think anybody came into this game thinking, well, this could be a close game and the Texans better watch out for the Cowboys here. I think most people thought they were going to win this game by at least 13 points. They should have been 10-point favorites in this game, 11-point favorites, but they went off as a 7-point favorite in this game. And they covered the spread, obviously, winning this game by 24. The Cowboys now have, for a record 6 straight game at home, trailed by at least 20 at some point in the game. Didn't happen till the waning moments when Joe Mixon got in for the final time and pushed the score up to 33-10, then pending the extra point got to 34. But I can assure you that streak will end in their next home game, which is against the New York Giants on Thanksgiving. Now, they may lose to Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants. They may lose that game. That's going to be I'm going to enjoy that game. I'm going to stuff my belly full, and I'm going to sit back and watch 2 horrid football teams smack each other around with backup quarterbacks. That's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy that. And the Giants, they're actually still trying to win. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but Texans were 7-point favorites. The over under on this total on this game was 41. Let's see, 34-10, so 44. I thought it would be less. I knew the Cowboys weren't going to score, and I didn't think the Texans would score that much. I was thinking more along the lines of like 28-10, something like that. I think my number was 30. I think my number was 41. So I think I actually was right there with BetUS. I think my number was 41. It ended up being 44. So I think most people expected Dallas not to score, but the Texans to score. And you see what the breakdown was. BetUS had the Texans 24.5, Cowboys 17.5. So that's how you get to the number at 7. Cowboys weren't scoring that many, and the Texans weren't scoring that few. But I mean, hell, it was 20-10 for the longest time. And if not for that strip sack, who knows? Maybe it doesn't get to 34. Maybe it just ends up being like 23-10 or something like that. But I digress. Here's the real question right here that I have for you guys. AFC conference winner. So these are the odds for a team to win the AFC and represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. So I asked you, where do the Texans rank for you right now? Like in the AFC pantheon, where would you put them? According to BetUS, and this was pulled off of the site prior to tonight's game. All right, as you can see, Monday, November 18th. So according to BetUS, the Chiefs have the best odds, as you would expect, to represent the AFC. So they're 1. Right now, the second best odds go to the Buffalo Bills, which, again, is to be expected. They're the number 2 seed in the AFC right now, behind Kansas City. They're at plus 300. Coming in third are the Baltimore Ravens at plus 350. Even despite the loss against the Steelers yesterday, they're still the third best odds-on favorite to represent the AFC at plus 350. Then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers right now as the 4th best team, or 4th best odds, rather, at plus 800. And then after that, the next 2 teams are the Chargers at plus 1,200 and these Houston Texans at plus 1,200 as well. So right now, BetUS is telling you that the Texans, along with the Chargers, both have the 5th best odds to represent the AFC. Do you think that's where the Texans belong? Would you put them ahead of the Chargers? Would you put them behind the Chargers? Or is that right about where you think they belong, right there with the Chargers? I don't disagree with the 4 teams they put ahead of them right now. I'd argue that the Steelers, they could beat the Steelers. I think they can beat the Steelers. But here's the problem. You know what the Steelers are about. You know what the Steelers represent. You know how they're going to play and how they're going to get down. Are the Texans mentally tough enough to deal with a mentally tough and physical Pittsburgh Steelers team for 4 quarters without making a bunch of mistakes and things of that nature? Like, did you see the 2 delay of games on field goal? Like, That's the shit where I'm like, I don't really know what to make of the Texans. I get it. It was a 28-yard field goal. Now it's a 33-yard field goal. You're not tripping. It's now an extra point. And Kamimi Fairbairn is one of the better kickers in the league. He's going to make the kick. But it's just the fact that you can't get the little things right. 3rd and 1, and you throw a 15-yard pass and it's incomplete. You rush up to the line of scrimmage to throw a 15-yard pass. Like, it's those little things. And then punt, right? It's those little things that make me worry about the Texans. Like, just how good are you? Do you get it? Do you understand? I don't really know if you get it sometimes, right? I digress. All right, let's get to your comments. Big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this stream. And so let me just real quick throw this up here, let you guys know if you're out there and you want your comment read on the air. Super chats are the way to get that done to ensure that your comment is read on the air. However, if you want your comment to be read and time permits, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. Again, if time is pertinent. So let's go ahead and get to the comment section. A lot of these are old, but I'm going to knock these out real quick. Yeah, these are old. I don't need to knock these out. Let's stay right here. The Great Watubi, been a member for 38 months. Salute. Really appreciate you, writes. We are 10-point favorites. Do you think we cover? Yes, I do. You watched the game tonight. These guys are awful. I mean, I like our chances to just be able to stifle them defensively. Our defense is hit or miss. You really don't know what to expect from our defense on a weekly basis. I just think we're getting better defensively. And the biggest thing is, can we shut down their run game, which everyone seems to be able to do. But we have our issues sometimes. So if we bring our A game, run stopping, game, and we'll see how many injuries they have up and down that offensive line, because it ended pretty roughly for them tonight. That'll be another opportunity for us to be able to, I think we can get to the quarterback. I think we can get to Cooper Rush, right? And the good thing is he doesn't run. Like, he's not a mobile guy. He's not looking to extend plays with his legs. We know where we can find him. So you can even get a little bit OC with your rush, lanes, because you don't have to worry about him, breaking your back and getting out on 3rd and 9 and running for 13. He can, but that's not what he wants to do. And so you feel good about just rushing 4. And I think our rush has gotten better over the last, month or so. But the key is, can we not let them run the football, force Cooper Rush like he did tonight, have to throw the bitch 50 times? And then can we just make sure CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a field day, right? You do those two things, and Cooper Rush can't beat you. Not with Bryn Spanford, right? Jake Ferguson went down. That's the only other guy that they have that's worth a damn, and he got hurt tonight as well with a concussion. And so, I don't see, as long as we don't do stupid shit, turn the ball over, penalties, dumb stuff that allows a bad team to stay in the game, I don't see why we don't win by 20 plus points in this game, just like everybody else has been doing to the Cowboys. I don't see why we don't beat them up. I saw somewhere where this is the first time we are favored over the Cowboys by more than 7 points since fill in the blank. It's been a long time. I'll just say that. Because it takes them to be really bad and us to be somewhat good to be favored over them by that much. And those two things haven't happened in quite some time, right? You probably got to go back to like 99, 2000, 2001, somewhere in that neighborhood, when the Cowboys were awful in the Dave Campo years, those lean years. You probably got to go back to that point when they were that bad. Maybe maybe 2015, the year before Dak was drafted, when they were like 4-13 or 4-12 or whatever they were that year, 3-13. They were awful, but they beat us on that damn Monday night with Matt Cassell and Darren McFadden. They beat us that night when Deshaun Jackson decided to run backwards and fumble the damn punt return. Yeah, so I don't know. They suck ass. I know that much. John Perez, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, JP, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, can we please stop calling the Cowboys contenders? They had their chance. Their window is officially closed. They're going to be garbage for a while. I think it's hard to say that about them because I think most people feel like if they just get a competent coaching staff with the talent that they have, they got talent. They're not void of talent. They're going after Bill Belichick. Okay. He's going to be the next Cowboys head coach. Till otherwise notified, that's who they're going to hire, if you ask me. All the signs point to Bill Belichick. I can give you a million reasons as to why he'll be the next head coach of the Cowboys. But you don't think Bill Belichick, who coached Lawrence Taylor, not to compare the two, but you don't think a guy that coached Lawrence Taylor couldn't get the most out of Michael Parsons? You're right. You don't think that Bill Belichick wouldn't go in there, probably hire what's your boy name, that Josh McDaniels? You don't think you get the band back together, go get Josh McDaniels? Where's the pencil pusher, the guy with the Matt Patricia? You don't think he's gonna get the band back together, whip that defense into shape, probably go get his son from the University of Washington? I think that's where he is now, calling the defense over there. Get the whole gang back together, whip the defense into shape, right? They still got, Deron Bland coming back at some point. Still got Trayvon Diggs. You got some talented guys. Wilson is a lot like Jabril Peppers. You don't think he can whip that defense into shape? You're right. Overshown is a beast. I don't know if y'all watching the same linebacker I'm watching, but this guy is an uncaged beast out on the football field. He's everywhere. You don't think Bill Belichick can get that defense to play well? And get Dak Prescott to not turn the shit over, just manage the game, add a weapon here or there, get him a quality running back. And now I think they got to do some work on that offensive line, obviously. But I'm look, are they winning a Super Bowl? Probably not. But for you to say they're going to be garbage for the next however long, I don't know about that. If they didn't sign Dak back, I would say yes. And I'm not telling you that Dak's this remarkable quarterback, but what I am telling you is he's a regular season winner. He's a regular season winner. And you get the right defensive guy in there, and they could get right back to being 12-5. They won't have a first place schedule next year. And depending on how these, they got a really weak schedule down the stretch, so I expect them to win some games. Carolina and the Giants, and there's some winnable games on the back end of this thing. If they take advantage of it, we'll see what they ultimately do. But I don't think they're going to be garbage for a long time. And let's see who they hire next. Like, if Jerry goes out here and does the Jerry Jones thing, which is like go and gets Kellen Moore and brings him back to be the head coach, or some other guy that he can control, then yeah, they'll be awful. Like they'll be garbage. But if he goes out and he goes out of his comfort zone and hires someone that's gonna be, someone that rattles the cage a bit, like Parcells was once upon a time, which I think Bill Belichick would be, because I think he's getting desperate at this point of his life. He's not, getting any younger, and I think he wants to win. So I could see him being willing to say, you know what, I'm still the GM, I'm still making all the decisions, but I am willing to take just a slight step back and allow somebody who has a bigger voice than myself, or at least a bigger personality and yada, 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 to come in here. I've even heard Jason Witten's name floated around as a guy, a former player, a la Dan Campbell, like that could come in, former player, former tight end, turn this thing around. But Jason Witten hasn't been. Like, where's Jason Witten at? What is he coaching? What is he doing? Like Dan Campbell, the difference is Dan Campbell was in the NFL coaching under Sean Payton and coaching in Miami and was the interim head coach when the Dolphins fired Joe Philbin and he took over. Like he had experience. Like don't think that Dan Campbell just came out of nowhere. Dan Campbell was putting in the work to position himself for this opportunity. When it came, he was ready. That's not what Jason Witten's doing. But look, we'll see what the Cowboys decide to do. Right? It's going to be a very, very high-profile job, and a high-profile job that I think is going to require a high-profile hire because of who your owner is in Jerry Jones. So we'll see what happens. I don't think I'll just say I said all of that to say this. I don't think they're going to be trash for a long time. Is their window closed? It's closed this year. Is it officially closed? Hey, you hire the right coach, and I don't necessarily know if that's true. I don't necessarily know if that's true. I don't think they're winning anything, but doesn't mean the window's closed. They can get back to doing something, and next thing you know, they're in the NFC Championship game, something they haven't done in XYZ amount of years. You just got to hire the right guy. Take command for life. Been a member for 35 months, almost at that 3-year. Annie, really, truly appreciate you. Who writes, coming up close on 3 years. I know, man. Time flies when you're having fun. So glad the Texans played such a physical game tonight. They're beat up coming into Sunday on a short week, belt to ass. I was thinking the same thing. Like, CD. I'm not one to advocate for injury or anything like that, but I know CD had a little back thing going on. I was like, look, man, I could go for no CD Lamb. Like, if y'all want to bust him up a little bit, I ain't mad at it. But he came out of the game looking no worse for the wear. I love that the offensive line took a couple, spills there at the end. I'm not going to front. Again, I don't advocate for dudes to get hurt. I'm not looking for that. But if it happens, I'm not turning it down. You know what I mean? Like, I remember 56-14. Like, I remember them busting our shit last year at the end of the season when they knew our season was done and they didn't give a damn and they didn't have any. I remember 42-13 at the end of the season last year, 42-10, whatever the hell it was. I don't forget. That shit isn't lost on me. You think I forgot about the turkey leg in the Salvation Army Bowl on Thanksgiving last year? You think I forgot about the LeBron James alley-oop into the Salvation Army Bowl last year? I have no sympathy or mercy for these boys. I want to score 2 billion points on Sunday if we can. No mercy. I'm on some straight Cobra Kai shit. I want to combine to score 150 points in these 2 games we got against them. So, yeah, excuse me for being like, hey, well, Tyler Smith, looking a little bummed there with that ankle, man. If you can't go, it's okay. Don't push it. You're 3-7. You ain't missing shit. Hey, Zach Martin, it's okay if you can't go, man. Hall of Famer, first ballot. Hey, man, you 3-7, bro. Pack it up. Pack it up. Hey, Guyton, you've been struggling at left tackle. If you play, I ain't tripping. But I'd love to get a piece of this chump that was in the game after you left. He looks like he's real ass. I'm all for it. Send them all in. On all the backups. On all of them. No Jake Ferguson? Ding! I'll take it. I'll take it. We'll see what happens, though. Damian Jenkins, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Damian writes, what up, fam? I'm kind of worried that if the Cowboys keep losing, they will get Shador and Dion possibly. Worried about the Giants drafting the QB as well. Don't want our division to turn in the NFC North, LOL. Look, our job isn't to worry about what the teams below us are doing. We got our quarterback. That's all we should be concerned about. We got our one and we got out, right? You really think they're going to draft Shador Sanders after giving Dak Prescott $60 million per year annually? You really think that's what they're thinking about doing? Come on, Damian. You know better than that. Ain't no way. Now, had they not signed Dak to a contract extension, and this was his last year, and they were going to let him walk, then yeah, that could be a realistic possibility that they could get that package combo deal of Shador and Dion. That ain't happening, bro. It ain't happening. I mean, theoretically speaking, you could trade Dak. You could do that. Yeah, you could do that. But who's signing up for that contract? Again, all it takes is one team. All it takes is one team who's not getting a quarterback this year, like the Raiders, for instance. You know, the Raiders look like they might not win another game either, though. So they're doing a hell of a job of doing what they need to do to put themselves in a position to get one of these quarterbacks. But the Giants, they stink too. But I think they messed up. I think they planned Tommy DeVito because they think, oh, Tommy's gonna mess around and win a game or two. He might beat Dallas on Thanksgiving. They should have put Drew Lock in. They were tripping. Because Tommy DeVito he on this shit. He might come in there and win two of them bitches. Put their ass in 7th, right? We'll see. You already know, though. We over here talking about tanking and losing. Brian Daboll is trying to win a goddamn game. And Tommy DeVito gives them the best chance to do that. So if you're a Giants fan, this shit was the worst. You would have rather Daniel Jones stayed in or them go to Drew Lock. Putting in Tommy DeVito is the worst damn thing because Tommy F around and come in and win a game or two. Anyway, I digress. I don't give a damn who gets who at quarterback. We got ours, and that's all I care about. We got ours. Reggie T, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. And I know you probably joking when you say that. You don't want it to turn into the NFC North. I'm game. Look, you can't run away from competition. If you believe in your squad and what you building, it shouldn't matter what anybody else is doing, right? That's my mindset. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Reggie T writes, I want to beat the brakes off of Dallas for no other reason than thanks. It's Dallas. Yeah. Thanks. I mean, from last year, Thanksgiving to the 56-14 assault where, you know, we were beating each other up on the sidelines. They've never shown us mercy. Never. And here lately it's been really bad. So no, I absolutely want to put their dick in the dirt. I absolutely want to beat the living holy hell out of the Dallas Cowboys. And it'll be just my luck that because I want it so bad, it'll turn into the week 2 the Giants game, right? Where we're fighting for our lives, but we somehow managed to win the game. Like, that's the type of shit. Like, I'm trying to guard against that. Just go out there and do what you're supposed to do, man. You know, I'm always preference it with this. I just want to win the game. And whether it's by 101 or just 1, I just want to win the game. But do I have a preference? Come on, man. I want to beat them so damn bad that they don't even want to play us in the last game of the season. That's how bad I want to beat them. And then after we do it, I want them to just put the camera on Jerry Jones. You know, one of my highlights of the last 5 years as a fan was the Thanksgiving 2020 win when they put the camera on Jerry Jones and he was just looking like, man, what the hell is going on here? We're losing to the goddamn. They don't even have a goddamn name right now. They're the damn football team and they're kicking our ass in my stadium. He had that look on his face. It looked like somebody put ketchup on his sausage McMuffin, right? Instead of syrup. I want that look again. I just want them to pan on like they did tonight when they put the camera on him and he was looking like, this is some bullshit. Hey, call up them hoes. Set something up for tonight. I need to relieve some stress. I want that look. Steven, you know, yeah, hit up the 2 we like. Yeah, get them up. Send them on over to the penthouse. I want that look where he pissed off and Hey, June, don't wait up for me tonight. That's the kind of shit I want. Where he just looked constipated. I hope we can deliver on Sunday. Edward Washington. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, love to see the dumpster fire that is the Cowboys. On other hand, hate that McCarthy will be gone next season. Yeah, he's definitely fired. There's no way he's going to be back in the mix. So what we effectively have to do is we got to get better so that no matter who their coach is next year, it doesn't change the fact that we still supposed to be stomping a mud hole in their ass. Pause. But honestly, I really don't care who their coach is outside of Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick. I really don't want either one of them to be their coaches. But I think it's going to be one of those two guys when it's all said and done. I think right now it's going to be Bill Belichick. But if it's not him, I can see it being Mike Vrabel. Because it's a high-profile job. They're not going to just hire some Joe Schmo up-and-coming offensive coordinator. Jerry wants an established coach. He doesn't want a guy who's never done it before. So you can cancel Christmas on Dion and all these other guys. Like, Dion ain't never coached at this level before. He ain't looking for that. He ain't interested in that. Now, he would love the spectacle that is Deion Sanders. And if you're just talking from a straight, financial gain standpoint, oh man, the headlines and the constant attention that would come with hiring a Deion. Oh yeah, Jerry would love that. But Jerry want to win. I think he getting to the point now where he getting old as shit, and he realized, hey man, I don't know how much time I got left. I might have to actually reconsider my strategy as far as, having a coach that I can, essentially use it, I could be the puppet master of and use him as a puppet, and I have the strings attached to him and I control his every move. I might have to relinquish some of that power and allow a coach to come in here with the chops to kind of do the things that he want to do without me breathing down his neck. And that's a Bill Belichick. That's a Bill Belichick. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. Metaphor says, Micah about to go up to DQ next week. Like, please save me next year. But the thing is, he doesn't control what happens. But Micah would love nothing more than to come to Washington, I believe, because he loves Dan Quinn that much. Even though it's going to be really interesting is next year, there were a number of guys that DQ wanted to bring with him that Dallas blocked. For instance, Al Harris, the cornerbacks coach, he wanted to bring him with him, and he wasn't able to. He wanted to bring, I think there was another guy that they blocked him from bringing. I think was their offensive line coach or somebody else. There was one more dude. I think he tried to get an interview and they was like, nah, back. But what happens when they clean house and that whole entire staff is gone? Is he gonna say, hey, y'all know y'all got a place here with me. Y'all come over here and rock with me. And what does that mean for some of the guys that are here? Will he create spaces for them, jobs for them, whatever the case may be? That'll be interesting to see. Next year when that staff kind of gets disassembled and guys are looking for jobs. That'll be interesting. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. Jack Miller. How about Tim Settle tearing up that Dallas line along with Hunter? You know, Tim has looked really good. I've watched the Texans a lot this season. Um, he's looked really good. You know, he would have been the perfect defensive tackle for this group. He's kind of undersized, quick, um, can get after the quarterback, can play the run a little bit. He would have been the perfect, like, he reminds me of the dude they drafted, because you remember Tim Settle was a Virginia Tech guy. Now, keep in mind, Tim's a big dude, though. Like, Tim, when we drafted him, I think Tim was like 330. But he reminds me a little bit of the guy we got undrafted out of Virginia Tech, Norrell Pollard. Now, Norrell is undersized. You know, like I said, there's a big discrepancy between their weight. Like, Norrell was like 280. Tim Settle was like 330 when we drafted him. But I'm talking about that low center of gravity. Tim Settle is probably like 6'1". So is Norrell Pollard, like an undersized dude. You know, quickest get out. Same with Tim Settle, quick for his size. They like them kind of offensive, defensive tackles. So he might have been a fit, but obviously he's in Houston now and he's playing well. It's good to see. Good to see. Let's see. I see somebody says free Trey Lance. That's one of the things I'm actually shocked by is I get why they're going with Cooper Rush. He gives them a better chance, and I get it. They suck. And in our mind, we're like, you ain't winning shit, so just play them. But that's not how they going about business. They think they got a chance to win every week, and they're gonna prepare as such. And you ain't winning nothing with Trey Lance. You definitely don't have a chance. Don Return says, how about AR-15 this weekend? We'll talk about that on the podcast tomorrow. He looked good. I was proud of him. I really, truly was proud of him this week, man. He looked good. He looked good. And a game-winning drive to boot. Sean Blake says, John Mechie III was someone I would have been interested in at the trade deadline. Also, why does Joe Mixon look more dynamic this year than compared to since? That's the $1 million question. Everybody's saying, yo, where the hell did this Joe Mixon come from? Because the reason Cincinnati was willing to part ways with him was because, they drafted, Chase Brown, and they felt like he was ready to take over, the lion's share of the carries and snaps. But it was also due to the fact that Joe Mixon just didn't look like this anymore. And maybe he now has something to prove. Maybe he's closer to home. I wish I could tell you, but he looks like the Joe Mixon of 3-4 years ago. Like, when you talk about finding the fountain of youth, you talking about Joe Mixon. You see the touchdown run tonight? Where he turned on the afterburners? I was like, that looked like Joe Mixon from Oklahoma. I was like, damn. Dos Quioto. And to think you could get that kind of player for a 7th round pick. That was a steal. That was a steal. All right. How bad? Let me say this. How bad do you have to be? How bad do you have to be if you're Trey Lance to see what Cooper Rush is doing, to see how bad things have gotten, and you still can't get no run? I mean, I think that's as telling as anything that they're not doing. The fact that they refuse to put him in the game kind of and I get it, they're 3-7, but where are you going at 3-7? I mean, let's just think about the NFC wild card for a second. Let's think about it. So the NFC East is a 2-bid division, right? Whoever doesn't win the division right now feels like the Commanders are that team that doesn't win the division. If the Eagles win the division, Commanders are getting in as a wild card. The NFC West seems like a 1-bid division right now, right? So does the NFC South. right? And the NFC North seems like a 3-bid division, right? Whomever it feels like Detroit's going to win the division, and then Green Bay and Detroit are both getting into the playoffs, right? So that's the breakdown of the 7 teams, right, in the conference. Am I wrong? Does that feel off to anybody? 3 from the NFC North, 2 from the NFC East, and 1 from each the South and the West. Does that sound off to anybody? So if you're Dallas or any other team that's holding out hope, this shit is over for you. You don't play in a garbage division that gives you a chance to still play. And the wild card ain't happening. The wild card ain't happening. So why not play a Trey Lance? I don't know. But that's the question that I have. Why not play a Trey Lance? Let's see. DJ 23 writes, everything falling apart in Dallas, even the stadium. Yeah, I think somebody on social said the same thing. Might have been Kevin the PRF. That had me a little chuckled there. I'm glad, seriously, on a serious note, I'm glad nobody got hurt, because that was a big ass piece of stadium, right? That was a big ass piece of metal that fell from the top of that stadium. And then they had another piece fall. I'm like, damn it, this stadium relatively new. And then it was like, yeah, 16 years. I'm like, oh, well, that's not as new as I thought. I felt like it was a lot newer than that. But 16 in stadium years is relatively young. That's still a relatively new stadium, right? But yeah, that's crazy. When it rains, it pours. That's funny. Ron Cole III says, Cowboys downfall feels absolutely amazing. It does, doesn't it? I can't lie. I enjoy this. Like, I've seen some comments here in the comment section that say, "Hey, man, I don't want to see no more Cowboys primetime games." And I'm like, no, feed me more. Give me the Zeke Elliott treatment. Feed me more of these shits. I can't get enough of this. I want to see all of this. Right? Let me take this in. I mean, I remember how blissful I used to be when they had Quincy Carter and Drew Henson and all of those guys at quarterback. I mean, it was a shit show, and I enjoyed it. If I'm not mistaken, they were on Hard Knocks, one of the very first Hard Knocks. They were on with Dave Campo, and they were awful. And I loved it. They were awful. Those first years after Aikman and the triplets were gone, after Aikman retired, Irvin retired early because of the hit he took at the vet. Aikman got hit. I think LeVar Arrington put him into retirement. And then Emmett hung on for like a year or two later, and then he went to Arizona, and they just were lost. They were just searching, right? Those were good times. Those were good times. I don't know where they at, but I'm just trying to bring the good times back. I wanted them to get rid of Dak. I wanted them to let him walk because they were going back down that road. And I know that's exactly why Jerry relented under that pressure. He didn't want to pay Dak because he knows Dak ain't winning shit. He knows it. But he's like, it beats the alternative. I've been there before, and I'm not going back. I'm not going back. He said, I'm not doing it. You could become Cleveland real quick, or the Raiders, or pick any of these teams with no quarterback. You can become one of them teams real quick. And it's hard to find one of these quarterbacks. You said what you want about Dak, at least you got a chance. So, anyway, I digress. Cyrix says, who do you think will win the Super Bowl this year? What's your gut telling you? Man, it's tough because right now I just don't think anybody in the NFC is better than Detroit. right? I won't because I don't love Jared Goff. So it's hard for me to just plop Detroit into the Super Bowl, but that's a well-coached team and it's a well-constructed roster. Hard to see anybody toppling Detroit if they are healthy and they're playing their game. In the AFC, it's interesting because Buffalo has a swagger that I haven't seen from them ever. Right? To me, this isn't the best teams, the best team that they've had in this Josh Allen window, but I think this is the most confidence they've had in this Josh Allen window. Offensively and defensively. And if they can figure out a way to kind of like, I seen Curtis Samuel finally getting involved. Like if they can start to gel together, you saw Amari Cooper's impact, right? You saw the 2 big catches he had against the Chiefs. Like that's what he brings to the table. That's what they were missing. Man, the Bills looked scary. It still feels like the Bills are the Chiefs over there. Like I don't see the Steelers being like, who you beating with 6 field goals? Other than the Falcons and the Ravens, who you beating with 6 field goals? Like you can't beat Kansas City with 6 field goals. You can't beat the Buffalo Bills with 6 field goals. Like I don't know if I'm buying what the Steelers are selling right now, and the Ravens. I just don't. I don't know if they're good enough defensively. I don't think they're good enough defensively. So it feels like Lions and Bills or Lions and Chiefs. That's what it kind of feels like. And it's as crazy as this sounds, feels like the Lions could win this thing. Feels like the Lions could win this thing, but you know how it goes, man. All you got to do is not have your best effort one time. One time, and you get got. That's all it takes. Anyway, I digress. Chief in the making says, great point being made in the chat. Denver looking good. Lattimore looking more like after the bye as far as the Cowboys. Good riddance. I've been saying, I've said this already. If he's not ready to go by this game, why even play him for the Titans game? Why not just wait, give him even more time? At that point, you just like, this isn't just an investment for this year, it's also for next year, but you want the investment to pay off this year. You want to see what the product looks like. If you can't have him ready for the Cowboys game, I don't know why you would try him out there for the Titans game. Just give him the bye week, and then he'll definitely be ready after the bye without question. Without question, he'll be ready. That's what it's feeling like to me. And I said that on CNN, the way DQ describes it, sounds like he's trending in the right direction, but doesn't sound like he's ready to contribute. And my whole thought process is, if he's not ready for the Dallas game, what's the point of even playing him against the Titans the following week, where you could just give him all the way through the bye week and then have him come back for New Orleans? Wouldn't that be crazy? His first game back is against the team that traded him in the place where he called home his entire career. That'd be the first game he plays coming back. That'd be crazy. That'd be something. That might be the case, though. It might be the case. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Monday Night Football Overtime. Texans put a hurting on the Dallas Cowboys, 34-10. Again, this was a 20-10 ball game with about 8-9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, but a big play by the former Philadelphia Eagle, Derek Barnett, pretty much put this game on ice for good forcing a fumble of Cooper Rush, scooped up by Cowboys rookie left tackle Tyler Guyton, who then was hit. Offensive linemen can't carry the ball. Anytime they pick up the ball, it almost feels like an instant fumble. He gets hit, ball comes out. Petrie with a vicious hit to knock the ball loose, and it also hurt his shoulder. Like you saw him on the sideline doing this. He left the game, didn't return, and then scooped up by the guy that originally forced the fumble, Derek Barnett, and take it to the end zone. And that essentially started the beginning of the end for the Cowboys, which led us to 34-10. But Texans snap a 2-game losing streak. They needed this one. Get to 7-4. Create a little bit of distance in that AFC South division again. They're going to win that division by default. Meanwhile, for Dallas, this nightmarish season continues. They're now 3-7. And I just love the shots of each of those guys on the sideline. The Michael Parsons dropping his head down like this. CeeDee Lamb on the sideline, just like, man. At what point I was talking to my wife, and she asked me, at what point, if you got an injury, do you just say, hey, man, I'm good. We're not there yet. You got to wait till after Thanksgiving before you pull one of those types of deals. But we're getting dangerously close to that point of the season for the Cowboys where CeeDee Lamb ain't trying to, play through a back injury, right? If his back feels tighter, yeah, I'm done. Just put me on IR. I'm done for the season. We get close to that point. You get to week 13, 14, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then that's when guys start saying, you know what? I got an ankle. Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead and IR me, right? Let the young boys have it. We're getting dangerously close to that period for the now 3-7 Dallas Cowboys. What's just crazy is we talked about this very scenario with the Cowboys potentially happening before the season started. We said, hey, this thing could go off the rails. Jerry's all in. This is a tough schedule. If y'all don't stack up a bunch of wins early, this shit could go sideways. Now, did we see it being this bad? No. But I thought, remember I said I could see Dallas being a 7-10. Remember I said that? I did not see 5-12, which is what they 6-11. It looks like the best they could do. If they beat Carolina, the Giants, and there was one more team on the schedule that wasn't very good, then I'm like, they should be able to handle them too. But they could very well be 5-12. Nobody saw that coming. I told you I could see 8-9, 7-10. I could see that. Tough schedule, right? Nah, I didn't see 5-12 or 6-11 or no nonsense like that though. It's crazy. Anyway, I digress. Give a quick shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this stream. Head over, to betus.com. Use the promo code YouTube150 to get you 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. 125% on your next two deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I will. If you haven't already subbed up to the Commanders Kings channel, please do so. Got our first stream tomorrow night. We'll be talking about the aftermath of the Eagles game, and then turn the page is Dallas week, right? And focusing our attention on these Cowboys here and looking to get a little bit of revenge. It's a dish best ice cold, and these Cowboys got a nice cold-blooded ass whooping on the horizon, and I'm not looking to have any mercy, and I don't think Ed, Rico, or Rio are looking to have any mercy on them either. So we'll be talking about all of those things and more tomorrow on that stream. So hopefully you will join us for that one. If you haven't subbed up, I will put the link to that channel down in the description and pin it in the comment section of this video. But you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Cowboys fall 34-10 to the Houston Texans. 6th straight game at home. The Cowboys have trailed at some point by 20 points or more. That streak will be snapped on Thanksgiving because they will not trail by 20 points or more at any given point of the game against the Giants. So that will mercifully come to an end, but they could still lose that game. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I digress. You guys, get out of here. See you next time. Take care. God bless. Good night.